Hello and welcome to www.luxurytolast.com. Today we're talking luxury watches and we're talking wearing two watches at once. What are the rules for wearing two watches at once? Well, let's go through some simple rules that you should adhere to. Number one, the watches need to be luxury watches, not fucking pieces of shit. You really got to wear some classy watches. If you're going to pull the two watch thing off, you got to get into the genre properly, and it's luxury. It's obscene displays of wealth. There's no point wearing two fuck Seikos on your wrist. You just look like a fuckwit. You got to wear two watches that are the price of a fucking luxury car. That's the whole point of wearing two watches. I mean, you want to look like a successful businessman. I mean, you've got one watch. You say local time, and this is New York. All important businessmen have got business happening in New York or London or wherever. And you've just got to have two luxury watches. I mean, shit, if you've got pieces of crap, you look like an idiot. The next thing is, when you've got two luxury watches, you've got to try and pair them up. Now, I try and wear similar coloured metals. So you might wear a white gold watch on one wrist, and you might have a steel one on the other. The other thing you could always do is that if you had a black dial watch on one wrist, you could also match it up with a black dial watch on the other wrist. One could be sports, one could be dress. As far as the straps go, you probably want to try and match the strap with the shoes and the belt that you're wearing. Push comes to shove, you could probably get away with darkish brown, and you could have black shoes with that, but it's probably not. GQ magazine would sort of say it's a no-no, but just fuck it. If you're going to be this eccentric, you might as well be even a bit more eccentric. The other thing you want to try and do is you want to try and match genres. For example, what I'll try and do is have two Holy Trinity members. So you might have an AP on one wrist and a PP on the other, a Patek Philippe. Sometimes you might want to have two sports, so I might have an Omega Seamaster or a Speedmaster on one wrist, and on the other wrist you might have a Rolex Explorer 2. So you're trying to have multi-function. So it would be wrong to have a Daytona on one wrist and a Speedmaster on the other, because they're both chronographs and you've already got that feature. Whereas if you had a chronograph and a GMT, you could very easily pull that off. The other thing is that you could also, with a lot of watches, they have a lot of crossover. A Reverso is either a sports watch, because it was invented for polo players in 1931, doesn't get much sportier than that, but it's also the ultimate dress watch, according to the Watch Snob. So those are a couple rules which you could use if you're wearing two watches. The other important thing with wearing two watches is people are going to say, why do you wear two watches? And you can have a range of answers depending on who you're talking to. If you're talking to an attractive, busty girl, you say, look, I really love watches. This is the same watch that Charlie Sheen tore his hotel room apart in. It was, I think it was about $250,000. This is a Patek. It's the price of a brand new car. And the other watch on my other wrist, it's an Audemars Piguet. It's a very, very classy watch. It's a Trinity member. It's also the price of a car. And you just got to get your stick right. Other times you might be talking to a dirty used car salesman, and I'll just say, I like to have 60k on my wrist. That's why I wear two watches. Is so when a car salesman says to me, what can I afford? I can look at my wrist and just snigger. And this is the whole thing. You've got to get your shtick right, because people will ask you why the fuck you have two watches on your wrist. And I often just tell them the truth. I say, look, I love watches. I've only got 30 to 40 years left, especially with the Archie diet. And I just say, look, I want to enjoy my watch collection. And the best way to do that is to wear two watches at a time. I said, that's just how it goes. So you've got to try and get your shtick ready, because people will come up to you and say rude things. People are quite, what's the term? You could say people are quite rude. They're rude fuckers. And you've got to get your story straight before you start handling them. And the other thing is that you want to be a bit careful if you're wearing two watches. I generally wear two watches with a business suit, so people don't even realize I've got two on. If you're wearing a short sleeve shirt, which is a big no-no for dress or any sort of formal attire, you want to be a bit careful. I know someone who was wearing a gold Submariner on one wrist and a white gold Patek on the other, and that kind of looked a little bit off-putting. It kind of looked like a zany billionaire, which is okay if you're after that sort of girl who chases zany billionaires. So it's that's the kind of look you want to try and avoid, in my opinion. But there you have it. Rules for wearing two watches. Tell me what you think. Tell me some of your own rules, and let's see if we can get men wearing two watches at once. I mean, men are only allowed to wear a watch and a ring. I mean, you can't really get away with much more jewelry than that, so let's make the most of it. Let's take a stand. Come to www.luxurytolast.com and let's rewrite the rule book. Thanks very much.